I know that you're publishing and promoting your own novels. What are your reading habits?
I usually have a couple of books going at once. So I just discovered Audible around the new year, and I'm loving that. So I usually have one audiobook going, and I try to pick the absolute longest one I can find, because you only get like one free Audible book a month that you can pick any book. So I pick the ones that are at least like 20 hours long, so I know it'll make it through the whole month. And I have one of those going, which is what I listen to like in the car or while I'm getting ready or making dinner. And then I read mostly on my Kindle at night before I go to bed. And I do consume a lot of horror and young adults. In the Audible, I'll do anything, mostly adult, but in Kindle, it's mostly, YA and horror, just to keep myself fresh on what's been done before and what tropes are overdone and what I do and don't like that's going on in the genre. And then if I'm reading a hardback book, it's usually something that's older and classic from like a used bookstore, like an old Stephen King that's like this thick, sitting on my lap. And I'll sometimes reference that during the day, like when I'm stuck and just need a little inspiration.
Stephen King, great wrist strengtheners, those old Stephen King hardbacks.
You can't read that on the treadmill. Like you need a stand to put the stand on.
You can, you just don't need any weights with it.
Yes. Yep.
I can't remember. I remember when it was my first adult novel, and it was a secret from my parents, and I had it in the bottom of my backpack, and that was just the heaviest, biggest book to try to hide.
I know, when I was reading that, I just reread it recently. My kids saw it and they were like, what is it? Like, is it the phone book? Like they actually didn't know what a phone book was. They thought it was like an encyclopedia, like a dictionary. They couldn't fathom what this ginormous thing of pages was. And it was just a normal novel that somebody just wrote one story that was this big. Yeah.
What's your favorite Stephen King novel?
That's a tough one. I do love It. I was a big fan of It, but there is a scene at the end of It that I'm not a fan of, that changes my perception of. That's not in any of the movies. I don't know if it's a spoiler, but there is a scene where, the kids are having a sexual experience and they are 12-year-old children. And I was not prepared for that scene. And I thought the depiction of it was just a little yikes to me. But other than that, if you take that chapter out, I loved that book. I think the eeriness of Derry, Maine is such an inspiration. I think all of the characters in The Stand kind of blow me away. How you could have that many different characters and that many different personalities. And as a reader, I was able to keep them all straight. And that's something that's very difficult to do when you have a lot of characters. I find I've read other books that had multiple characters where it wasn't just 2 or 3, but we're talking, half a dozen or more, where I really did forget, who was this again? Oh, wait, is that his sister? Is that his brother? And you can't remember how they connect. And I felt The Stand managed to really do that and keep those voices distinctive. So as a writer, I see some of his works as just a really good masterclass on how to do some of the best horror and how to weave together some of these really difficult techniques.